out there, I see you. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. This is Elevation Factor, where we strive to make content that helps uplift you and motivates you to get even one step closer to your dreams and living your best life. Today, I want to do that by talking to you about being transgender and how that relates to religion. There's a couple points I want to make on that, and so we're going to get into it. The first one I want to talk about is just being trans and being religious. I know a lot of people in the LGBT community uh, found their way to coming out after they liberated themselves from their religious upbringing and found their own path, and I think that's wonderful if that's what works for you. But I also know a lot of people, well, and even myself to a degree, who struggled to identify with who they are because they still felt some call to spirituality, to religion, and they felt precluded from that because of the stigma around being in the LGBT community and being religious, both from within and without the community. And the internal cognitive dissonance that's going on when someone is experiencing that, even from what little I experienced of it and how I've experienced it in other ways, I have sincere empathy and compassion for you. That's all I will say there. It is a challenge. But I just want to remind you out there, you are not precluded from believing in a higher power and following a religion because you are transgender or non-binary, agender, whatever identity suits you best. That's as far as gender goes, or anything. Being LGBT and or being part of the community, that does not preclude you from having a religion. There are many people out there who follow a path to God as they believe in it and still identify as part of the LGBT community, and I think that's wonderful. And you also do not have to be self-hating, bigoted, and or judgmental of yourself or anyone else for being LGBT just because you are religious. And I'm not saying that to be like, oh, how dare you be ignorant. Like, yes, I don't like when people are ignorant, but I'm not saying what I'm saying here to go on that, like, rampage right now. That's a rant for another day. What I'm saying is there is nothing to judge just because you follow a path of God and happen to be part of the LGBT community. A lot of people like to argue that God doesn't make a mistake and saying that as an excuse to bully trans people and say that their identity is invalid. That is not true. Being trans isn't a mistake, and if one truly does believe in God and believe in some all-powerful creator who doesn't make mistakes, well, if trans people were a mistake, they wouldn't be here, so they've invalidated their own argument, and they're just not worth listening to until they grow up and have something worthwhile to say. So you don't need to worry about that. And even if that's not your concern, like, you might have some friends in the LGBT community who judge you for being religious, and that's really hard. And it's possible that they just aren't the friends for you if they can't support and respect you as you respect them. And if that's the case, then I encourage you to find the strength to make room for somebody better in your life who is able to respect you and, like, have a different opinion than you, a different religion, and still be a proper friend that you deserve. And I wish you luck with that. And you'll also get judgment from without the LGBT community. You'll get people judging you on both sides if you happen to be in the middle, being religious and being in the LGBT community. And that's hard, but you're not any less valid in either your faith or your alphabet mafia identity just because you happen to identify as part of both. Like, they are not, they're not enemies, and not even the people who are being ignorant. It's not about them being enemies, it's about them being ignorant and problematic and them needing the most help to grow and learn and be a more loving and kind person. But you have no enemies. You may not have the best group of friends who can support you and motivate you to be who you are. And if that's the case, I encourage you to find better friends. And sadly, you might have to learn and forgive yourself for walking away from people you share blood with, because I will say it until I'm blue in the face, until I'm dead in my grave. Blood does not make a family. Most trans people have learned this. I also know a lot of people struggle with coming out because they did grow up in their super religious family and they can't separate the fact that someone was artificially kind to them when they believed that um, that person was the gender that they saw them as, and then when that person came out as transgender, they totally changed. And you feel guilty, like you're the one like breaking up the family. You're not breaking up the family. You're realizing who you are, and it took you a long time to get there because the people around you didn't support you in asking questions and help you ask the right questions and give you the language to explain your identity to them and explain it to yourself and understand it. And so you had to figure it out on your own with no resources, which is the challenge. Same thing happened to me. It's why, even though I knew from the time I was 5 years old, I didn't come out until I was 16. And in another video already up on my channel, and I'm sure in future videos I'll talk more about that. But point being, you do not need to worry about anyone in your life who doesn't support you being both religious and in the LGBT community. You who just do you. You are totally valid. And again, like being religious doesn't make you a judgmental person, because regardless of what ignorant people are espousing and blaming religion for, their ignorance is just that. Their ignorance. God does not care if you are trans, if you are gay, whatever. God does not care. Whatever God is out there, whatever karma is out there, whatever you believe in, you can be an atheist. And even so, the kinder you are to people, the more people who are willing to work with you and you need help. So even if you're an atheist, you can understand that. And if you do believe in a higher power, all they care about is that you are doing things that you can feel good about before you go to sleep. Like when you look in the mirror, are you proud of what you see? Are you are you doing the morally correct thing? Are you following your conscience? Are you willing to grow and learn and challenge your knowledge base is to get something new? That's what God cares about, not things you can't control. Oh, because again, whatever religion says, your identity is not a choice. What you do in response to discovering that identity is. And whoever supports you in being who you are truly, including whether or not you feel comfortable with religion, that's something you're going to have to find out as you bravely work to work towards being authentic with yourself. And as you do that, I promise you, you will find the community that is right for you, and they are out there. So keep doing that. Keep living your truth. You're awesome exactly the way you are. So I cut off my last video before I was finished and I split it into two parts, and that means I didn't film an outro. So here we are. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found it helpful, and I hope it inspired you to live your truth, whatever that is, and whether or not that means you are both part of the community, the LGBT community, and religious or not. I hope it encourages you to explore that with an open heart and with a lot of self love. Alright, that's it for now. There's another video specifically for parents who are religious and have kids who have trans and gender divergent kids, and watch that if you're interested. stay growing, learning, and being wonderful people that I know you are and can be, and keep getting better. All right. Much love. Take care.